story time of my bully neighbor. This all started in 5th grade. We will call her Maddie. She moved across from me, so we started talking on the school bus in September. She seemed really nice, but I was wrong. She wanted to come over, so I let her. She started to be really freaking rude and tried to boss me around and threw me off my own trampoline. She decided to pop all of my sister's birthday balloons, so me being big brain, I told my mom and we kicked her off our property. We thought it was the last we would ever hear of her. Nope. She started bullying me and my sister and brought her brother to us, and he threatened to break all of our bones. We told our mom and she stormed off to her house and banged on her door and screamed at her mother. About a week later, her mom came to our house because Maddie told her mom some screwed up lie, so we slammed our door in her face. She bullied me for 3 years straight to the point she turned my friends against me. They told me all the stuff Maddie said about me. I am in 8th grade now and I still that little, and hope she in hate.
This is why Bring Your Pet to School Day is banned from my school. I just want everyone to know that this was bound to happen. The kids at my school are super irresponsible. I don't know why the teachers thought this was a good idea. I was one of those really irresponsible kids, and I didn't pay attention to which pets were allowed to be brought to the school. They weren't allowed to stink, they had to be a certain size, and you weren't supposed to bring them on the bus. If you were bringing a pet, you had to be a car rider. Well, I might have broken some of these rules. So I had a pet milk snake. It was about 3 feet in size, and I brought it to school without telling my parents because you had to get a parent signature form. And no, I was not a car rider. I brought it on the bus. I was carrying it in my backpack, and my backpack was all the way zipped up, so there was no way for it to get out. So I got on the bus, and then like 5 minutes later, my bus buddy got on the bus. Asked him, "Did you bring your pet to school?" He goes, "No, I'm on the bus, aren't I?" I was like, "Okay, I'm on the bus and I brought mine." He tells me we weren't allowed, and then he has to see it. When I opened my bag to show him, it wasn't there. Then I hear my bus driver scream, and she swerves the bus. This is part 2 of why Bring Your Pet to School Day is banned from my school. So like I said, I'm on the bus and I open my bag to show my friend my pet snake. But when I open my bag, it wasn't there. And then I hear the bus driver scream, and she swerves the bus. He yells that there's a snake on the bus, which causes panic. Kids start crying. Some try to jump out the bus window. Like, it was literal chaos. The bus driver almost crashed the whole bus. But she was able to steady it out. But nobody knew where this snake was. I honestly just try to act like I didn't know what was going on. Like, what snake? Never heard of her. Is that some type of drink? Anyways, so luckily, I looked across the seat from me. The seat in front of them, under it was the snake. My friend was sitting on the outside of the bus seat, so I told him to grab it. Try to get him to grab it before anybody sees it, but he didn't, so I just launched over there and I grabbed it, put it in my bag, and continued to act like nothing happened. Okay, so I'm running out of time, so I'm going to zoom past a little bit, but I'll come back on the next part. My school lets us carry our backpacks anywhere we want, so I had the snake in my backpack all day. But 2 periods before chemistry, I decided to let it loose so I could skip the class. So this is part 3 of why Bring Your Pet to School Day is banned from my school. Okay, so I'm backtracking a little bit. So after the snake was let loose on the bus, once we got to the school, somebody had to come onto the bus and figure out the situation, what was going on. They asked if anybody brought their pet on the bus. Obviously, I did not give myself up, and they ended up just concluding that a random snake got on the bus. Okay, so back to where I was at. I had a chemistry test that day as well. Like I said, I was very irresponsible, so I did not study for my test, nor did I care for this snake. So I knew the chaos that it would bring to let it loose, so that's what I did. So it could cause chaos, so then I didn't have to take my chemistry test. And half an hour after I let it loose, on the announcements, they tell everybody to stay in their rooms. There is a snake on the loose. Apparently, it was found in a bathroom in a toilet. Somebody sat down on that toilet and had the worst time discovering that snake. Low-key feel bad for them. Once they found it, they put it on the announcements that they found the snake and whoever lost it can come get it. They described it, so I went to go get it. So this is part 4 of why Bring Your Pet to School Day is banned from my school. Like I said, Jesus Christ, I almost died. So like I said, I went down to the office to claim my snake. I obviously got into a lot of trouble for that. They called my parents. My parents came down to the school. So I got suspended. My parents grounded me for months and months and months. I was not allowed to leave my house. I couldn't go out to see my friends. But I was only suspended for like a week. And when I went back to school, everybody knew that it was me who brought that snake to school. And so the person who sat down on the toilet seat and found the snake knew that it was me too. And that person didn't say anything to me, but I did get word that that person was very pissed because that snake went straight up there, you know. So after that, they just didn't allow kids to bring their pets to school anymore, which is reasonable. I kind of ruined it for everybody else, but I don't really care because it's not that serious. But people can't just hate on me because there was this other kid who brought a spider and it got loose in class, but they were able to find it really quickly. So it didn't escape the classroom or anything, but I did what I had to do, so
Storytime of how I never go to ice cream trucks anymore. So where I live, ice cream trucks are pretty common in the neighborhood, and so my parents were fine when I went. Normally the ice cream truck stopped in the middle of my house, like between me and my neighbor's house, but this time it was right in front of mine, but I did not think much of it, so I have the money and I'm walking up to the truck and my parents re somewhere in the house. I didn't know where, I just know they were not watching me, which could have been a big mistake. When I go to the truck, I'm about to order my favorite ice cream, and as soon as I said, "Hi, I would like to order the ice cream man," said, "I thought you would be here," and it got really weird, but since I was a kid I thought he was being friendly and funny, but my ass was about to get kidnapped after I told him what I wanted. Once Adrian thought he was being friendly, he came out the truck to give it to me. I said thank you, gave him the money, and was about to walk away when he said, "Do you want to see what the inside of an ice cream truck looks like?" I said sure, like why the hell am I so stupid? But when I go in the ice cream truck, he shut the door and looked me in, and he got in the driver's seat. That's how I knew I was being kidnapped, so I had to think fast since he locked the door in the inside. I was able to unlock it and get out. Lucky me, got out in front of my best friend's house, so I hide in the bushes once I got out, and once I could not see him anymore I ran to my friend's house and started banging on the door and ringing the doorbell, and once I was safe in their house I told her parents what happened, and they called my parents and told them everything, and my parents came to get me, and I said thank you to my friend and her parents and went home. So you see, my parents still let me get ice cream trucks, but I don't anymore.
Story time about how I found out my boyfriend was seeing his ex. And yes, he's still my boyfriend. We haven't broken up. I just don't know what to do. Well, we've been together for 6 months. I met him through some friends, and every time we hang out with those friends, someone always tells me, "Hey, your boyfriend was hitting on so-and-so." And of course, I just never wanted to believe it. He's really attractive, young, and owns his own business, and I know that attracts a lot of women. So when we first started dating, I gave him the option to have an open relationship because I knew that he was surrounded by women that really wanted to be with him, and he also just had a really social life. He said absolutely not because he didn't want to share me with anyone else. I said, okay, then we're committed. And he said, yeah, we're committed. 2 weeks ago, we decided to move in together, and we got a really nice apartment. Right now, we're actually in the process of moving in and buying furniture. Well, 3 days ago, my boyfriend butt dialed me. He didn't realize I could hear the entire conversation he was having over the phone. You'll never guess what I heard. Part 2 is up. Part 2. So my boyfriend butt dials me and doesn't realize I can hear the entire conversation. I could hear him talking to a woman. He was promising her that he would break up with me and move into the new apartment with her. And when she said, "I won't believe it until you actually do it," he called her by her name. This is when I realized he's talking to his ex. The same ex he told me was toxic and abusive. He also told her that he only loved her, and that the only reason he hadn't broken up with me yet was because he was afraid I would harm myself. And that's when they dropped the bomb. She says, "Well, I'm 8 weeks along. You gotta hurry up." She was pregnant. By the way, I listened to their conversation for 10 minutes. I knew that he was at his business, so I decided to go over there and see if I could find them. Finally, I spot his car and drive up right next to it. Roll down the window and I say, "Check your phone." This man didn't even know what to say. He grabbed his phone and he looks at it. The look on his face when he realized I listened to the whole 10-minute conversation. Part 3 is up. Part 3. So my lying, cheating boyfriend butt dials me and I could hear the entire conversation he was having with his ex, who he was cheating on me with, and who was pregnant. He gets out of his car and runs over to me. He tries to open my car door and asks me to get out, but of course I didn't. My cars and my windows were locked. He started hitting my car window telling me to get out, and I could tell he was pissed because he got caught. So guess what I did? I drove straight to his mama's house and I told her everything. He was a mama's boy and I knew this would crush him. So his mom calls him and tells him to come straight to her house. He started swearing up and down that he only said those things because he's afraid of his crazy ex and he doesn't want her to take the baby away from him. His mom and him convinced me to stay in the relationship. We're still together. I don't know what to do. Should I stay with him or should I leave him?
Story time, I had to go to jail because of my toxic ex-boyfriend. So a little background information. Him and I started dating right after high school. And this relationship was so fucking toxic. We would literally fight over the dumbest shit. So fast forward 4 years later, the one night he had his friends over and he wanted me to cook steak. I decided to cook chicken instead. And this is what triggered the entire fucking fight. He was saying things like, you never listen to what I say, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife type of shit. So he pretty much blew up and was like trying to kick me out of our house. He went to our master bedroom, started breaking all my shit, throwing it down the stairs, and his friends left me there with his crazy ass. So I tried to get him to stop, but he wouldn't, of course. So then he ended up calling his fucking sister, who is 10 years older than me, trying to get her to come to my house and kick my ass. I never really got in a fight like this, so I decided to call 911. She heard him in the background going crazy like for part 2. Part 2 of why I had to go to jail because of my toxic ex-boyfriend. So like I said, the dispatcher on the phone could hear him in the background going absolutely fucking psycho. So she told me to hide. I ran upstairs into the master bedroom and locked the door until they came. So they interviewed us separately, and he has the nerve to start fucking crying, saying that I was beating his ass, and he even fucking scratched himself. So even though I called 911, they said in a domestic dispute they had to take somebody to jail. And since he had visible marks on him, they took me to jail. So the police officer told me to take off all my clothes and to only wear one layer and to also take out my shoelaces before he brought me in. So they booked me in jail, put me in a freezing cold fucking cell with 25 other actual bad bitches for 7 hours. And this is the best part. My ex kept trying to call and get me out the whole time I was in there, saying that he lied and everything. They set a court date for me, but when I showed up, they literally just dropped all the charges. Now I just tell everybody that I've been to jail and I'm not scared to go back. Story time about my boyfriend's crazy ex-girlfriend. So a little background information. So his ex-girlfriend's parents, they owned a security company, which sold cameras, alarms, and a few other things. So at the end of 2019, my boyfriend broke up with his ex-girlfriend. And by March of 2020, he started seeing me. And at first, we were just keeping things on the down low. Anyways, so after maybe 3 weeks of seeing my boyfriend, his ex sent me an Instagram message calling me a slut. It's the obsession for me. Anyways, what's even weirder is that she knew everything about my boyfriend and I, even the sexual things. Anyways, like I said, I thought that was really weird, so everything that she had sent me, I sent straight to him. Because I thought, obviously, that he had still been talking to her and had told her everything about us. But instantly, he gave me his phone and said go through it, and he had her blocked on everything. So even though it was weird, we moved on from that situation. Well, fast forward another 2 weeks, and his ex calls him while I'm at his house. Like for part 2. Part 2 about my boyfriend's crazy ex-girlfriend. So like I said, she had called him while I was over his house. And somehow she keeps figuring out things about our sex life and personal things that we had told each other. So my boyfriend and I got super suspicious, obviously. Then we started to think, and we noticed that everything that she was telling us were things that we had talked about in his bedroom. And things that we had done. So we ransacked his whole room looking for anything. And what do you know, I found a mini security camera and a microphone pointing out of his walk-in wardrobe directly towards the bed. He took it to the police and tracked it back to her. So it turns out she had used the hidden spare key, which his mom kept under the mat at the front door, which she had known about from when they dated. So she broke into his house, planted a security camera from her dad's business in his wardrobe. So we decided not to press charges because her parents and my boyfriend's parents were friends. So they just talked it out and decided to punish her in their own way.
Story time about how I snuck out of the house and got caught by my crazy psycho mother. Warning you guys, but here we go. At the time I was 19 and I just got done with my first year at a university. And while I was at school, I met this cute boy, which we're going to call Kendrick. And that whole year we were talking. So summertime rolls around and I go back to live with my parents. And when it came to my parents, they were very strict about me talking to boys, especially my mom. And I know I was 19, but my mom did not allow me to go out if she didn't know where I was at. So this one day, Kendrick is like, oh, we should go out one night. And I went and told my mom that I was going to the mall with my friends. But as the time got later, it was like too late, and my mom started blowing up my phone. And usually when she does that, I'm in big trouble. So I just decided not to pick up because I know I'm going to get in trouble anyway, so I might as well stay out and have fun with whatever time I had. But that was the biggest mistake. Y'all come back for part 2 because it gets bad, really bad. Part 2 of how I got caught sneaking out of the house by my crazy psycho mother. So like I said earlier, I was out and she was blowing my phone up and I was not answering. Because I knew I was going to get in trouble anyway, so I might as well just have fun. Well, as the night was getting later, I had to go home. And when my boyfriend Kendrick dropped me off, there was a whole bunch of cars outside of my house, and police cars. When I walked into my house, I saw all of my family, uncle, aunts, cousins, police. It was a whole bunch of people in there. I had my uncles and aunt walking up to me asking what happened to me. Said they called the police because they thought I got kidnapped. At one point, I was going to lie and said I got kidnapped because I didn't want to get in trouble. But I just told everybody I was out with a friend. But when my mom saw me, it was over. It was over. I should have just went ahead and buried my grave then and there. Because I got my ass whooped in front of everybody and the cops.